Okay, welcome everyone to the 11th Cork.net and Azure Meetup. Today we have Jürgen with us, and he's going to talk to us about, see if I didn't forget,
ASP.NET Core Health
ASP.NET
Checks.
Exactly.
Core Health, yeah, controls.
If the title is a little bit too long.
Yeah, health checks, not control. Sorry, I have
Health
the
checks.
Windows on top of the screen. So maybe you're going to give us a small introduction, and then the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Jürgen. I'm living in southern Germany near the Swiss border. I'm actually working in Switzerland in a small company called U, but misspelled. So it's an Y and double O. Yeah, it's a small company doing some business applications, stuff like this for huge companies. About me, yes, I'm a .NET addicted web developer. That's how I call myself. Mainly, yeah, writing about .NET stuff, ASP.NET Core stuff, also in magazines. So let me quick share the screen. I have some slides prepared. Is that okay? Okay.
Yep.
Please.
Thank you. So hope you can see it. Oh no, Zoom works different. So that's me. The first day I lost my shaver, I think. Yes, I'm a Microsoft MVP for developer technologies. As I said, .NET addicted since 2001. I think end of 2001, I started working with ASP.NET and production. So from the first version, I have a blog, English-speaking blog on ASP.NET hacker.rocks. And you can find me on Twitter. And as I said in the discussion before we start, father of 3 boys, always action in my house. And maybe it feels a little bit unprepared today because I just put them into bed and then got the time to prepare the right way. Anyway, I hope it will work today. So maybe I'm hopefully. So another thing I want to mention, I just finished my first book about customizing ASP.NET Core 5. That's also mentioning ASP.NET Core 3.5 inside, since this is pretty similar. Yeah, it will be available next week on Amazon Unpacked, I guess. And the publisher, Pact, wants to contribute 1 copy to the raffle today. So if you like to have a copy, then
Awesome.
stay on the line. Oh, pushed the wrong button, sorry. Yeah, the topics tonight, I hope I can put all the stuff into 1 hour. I do a small introduction, really small one, and I'm not a slide or PowerPoint guy. We will see a lot of code. And we will go through the basics of health checks. We will create an endpoint. We will create custom health checks and see how they are developed. We will use the health check result in our application to react on the health states, for example. Then we will see how to add third-party health checks, and we will have a quick look into the health check UI. And if we then have some time left, we can have a short look into a Docker Compose or into a small application I spin up with Docker Compose using two separate services, a web front end and 2 separate services in the Redis database. And we can try to enable health checks there as well. But this is depending on time left today and depending on your questions. Another thing is I like to have interactive presentations. This is, I guess, quite hard if you do it via Zoom or Teams or whatever. But feel free to ask questions in the chat or directly. I'm not sure if it's possible for you.
There's a Q&A section. I think people can answer or can make questions.
That's
and then
cool.
we mark them as answered.
Then we can notify you when someone asks a question, just so you don't have to monitor it.
Or if you want, you can make a pause and go for questions, and we take it from there.
I think I will do a small pause after each section. But feel free to ask questions during the presentation. That's not a problem for me. Anyway, I want to do the presentation for you guys and not for myself. So you need to have to ask me the question. This is I guess, the one of the two slides for the introduction. So the health checks were started to implement in fall 2015, maybe a little bit earlier, but Damien Bowden and me, we got asked to hack on the health checks. It was during the MVP summit in Redmond in 2015, and it was Glenn Condren from Microsoft who asked him via Twitter he asked to help him or to play around with health checks, and Damien and me we said yes, and we had a nice session with him and another guy from Microsoft, and started to implement the first checks and some infrastructure code and stuff. It was pretty nice and cool, and we continued to work on that. And during the time, the health checks were moved from one repository to another. First one was just a play around repository in GitHub. And the next one was something like architecture draft repository in GitHub. And with the .NET Core framework 2.2, then it moved to the production. So since 2.2, we have the health checks available, and it's always there on every ASP.NET Core application. It's in, and the namespace Microsoft.ASP.NET Core diagnostics.healthchecks. It's maybe hidden because it's never it's never integrated into the initial project. So. And then I will show some of this stuff too. We have a great community project on GitHub. We will have the links in the slides afterwards. It is ASP.NET Core Diagnostics Health Checks. This is full of different kind of health checks and the pretty nice health check UI. You will see it later on. So why health checks and what is it? So health checks is actually pretty small. It's not a huge framework, something like this. It's just a small set of classes and services you need to add, or you might need to add to your application. And it's pretty nice to learn about the health of your application. You can add some checks about maybe hard drive, available free space on your hard drive, or about your memory. You can add checks about the database in the background. You can also have checks about sub-services and another APIs you need for your application, for example. To know about the health helps you to keep your application available, maybe with a degraded state, but available. So you can notify the user about the state of your application. Maybe it's possible to tell the user that the database is currently not available. So something like this with a nice message, or you can notify the user that a separate service is not available and the application is only working working partly. So you can tell your mobile app, for example, that some of the APIs are missing, or whatever. So you know the health of your application and can do something with it. You will also know the health of subsystems if they provide a health check API or an endpoint. And at the end, if you run it on Azure, you can plug in the health check endpoint into the Azure failover services or load balancer or whatever you have available there. The same thing on Kubernetes if you want to use it. So both Azure and Kubernetes are providing some checks for to check health checks endpoints. Yeah, to know about the health state, and Azure, like this Azure knows if it should spin up a failover instance or whatever. I guess you're more familiar with Azure than me, but this is a nice feature. The same on Kubernetes. So here are the links to some resources, and I think that's the last slide. We can jump into code. It makes more sense to see code than slides. Feel free to ask something if you want to. So if not, I will create a small application in parallel. I always use this nice console here. It's the commander. It's on.
If you can increase a bit the font size.
Sure. I will.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I said that a new. I do MVC application output into health. Oops. Health checks. So like this with the same name. This is just a small sample to show the API. So this is already on ASP.NET Core 5. So it's here, yes. Okay, and I will open code, VS Code. And as usual, it opens on the wrong window. So it's always the same thing. It's like a lottery. You never know where the window will open. So this is our application, really a small one. And we'll do a lot of work here in the startup. So this is a really common MVC application. So we will add it here. So what we need to have first is the services for the health checks. So let's add them here. I do copy paste the snippets from a separate window. This is easier than seeing me writing code. So we have this available as said. So this is here by default. And we need to add the actual endpoint.
Does that come with so the health checks? It's probably extension methods, right? Or
exactly, yeah. This is an extension method on the AI service collection, and already there. So it should.
It's bundled with the template or with the .NET Core Bootstrap. So when you created a new project.
Yeah, the references are already in.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah. So, and same here though. So here we have the endpoint writing, and we can add a different endpoint here. So this is our health check endpoint without any checks currently. So this is working. We have the references and the usings. It's already there. So And since Microsoft separated the routing from the actual view layer, like MVC or something like this, it's pretty easy to add more endpoints here. At the beginning, when we started to implement the health checks, this was a middleware, a real middleware. But now it's added as a different endpoint. Okay, so let's quickly start it just to see that the endpoint is working. And we have, yeah, it tries to start, but it doesn't have any. One sec. We need the startup stuff here. Usually VS Code is asking about that. We use the console. .NET Run. That's usually faster. So it's building, it's thinking about building. Maybe we have time for a small question.
No questions yet.
No questions.
Well, the attendees cannot ask questions like talking, but if someone has a question, use the Q&A or put on the chat, and we make sure that Jürgen will answer.
Yeah.
What else?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, feel free. I like questions. So this is there, also opening on the wrong window. And we have the application. Oops. So like this, and our application is healthy. That's a good start, right? But we don't have any checks yet. But this is
maybe a false positive.
Maybe not. So you can, this is just a simple one, or a basic check. So Azure or Kubernetes is able to check if your application is running, right? So it's not about other dependencies, it's about your current application. So not really a false positive. But let's add a simple check. So we have some more dependent extension methods here. So we can say add, if VS Code is helping us, yeah, add a check. And call it maybe like foo. And we can, well, like this. Add a lambda expression here. And do something like this. And maybe I copied too much. Yes, I did. The most important thing to learn for a software developer is about how to copy paste. So health check result is not there, so we put that in. And this is a really simple check. So it's a lambda method. We do the check here, and we can return a result. So currently we have healthy. We will give a name here or a description and some tags. We need the tags later to bundle the checks. So we can have some database checks or background API checks or hardware checks or whatever. We can bundle them with the tag. So, and if we rerun this, nothing changes, I guess, because it's still healthy. Actually, we didn't add a check, we just added the result. let's refresh. Still healthy, as expected. So then let's add another one. So we can have a different or an additional node check. Let me rearrange that. So looks better. So we have a second state. This is degraded. So it's somewhat okay. And if you rerun this, we get a different state. Yeah, like this. So this is the result here. And as a second type of state, we have the unhealthy state. So if something went completely wrong, we need to return the unhealthy state. So as you can see here, we have the information and the log output as well. We have also the time the checks need to check something. So now we should have an unhealthy state. Yes. So this is how an health check can look like. But this is too simple, I guess. Let's create a real world example. So is the font size okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in this case, we will check for my blog actually. Yeah, we'll check if check for the availability of my blog. So I do a ping send on ASP.NET Hacker Rocks, and we wait for the status. And if the status is not success, we will return an unhealthy state. If it takes too long, then it's degraded, and healthy in the other cases, or unhealthy in case of an error. So I will put this into an unhealthy state. Otherwise, we don't get the result here on the UI. Okay. We run it. So this is nice as well here. I see the log outputs.
So the order that you add the checks is important, because if a previous check fails, you want to run the next one.
No, actually not. The thing is, currently, we only get one output. So we have an overall state of the application.
Okay.
It's only one result, so that's the sum of all results.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. So your health just, yeah, okay. It doesn't show a list of all the health checks. It's just an overall.
Yeah, the API is pretty simple.
Okay.
We will extend the API later on, but the basic implementation, it's really simple. It only shows the state of your application. So in this case, the ping is slow, and we have it degraded. So if I put this in, let's say unhealthy, In that case, we have an unhealthy application, even if this is healthy, because this is the lowest health state, or the
Okay.
most
Gotcha.
bad. Yeah. Put this back. So, and I guess you're pretty sure that this is not a right way to add health checks. So if you have a lot of them, you will mess up your startups, yes. And it makes sense to put the checks into separate classes. The same way as you do it with the middlewares. If you ever wrote a middleware, I guess most of you did. So to do this, it's easy to just add a middleware like this. So it looks pretty much the same as you would do it with a middleware. So just add a check. We added the type here. So this is a class-based one. We also have tags here. And we need to implement this and to keep it simple. Just copy the class down here. That's a simple one. So that's not really a typical check. So it does nothing. It only checks this variable, and we get a result here. It's just for a demonstration. Something is missing here. No, it looks good. Okay. So it's a class derived from iHealthCheck, or implements iHealthCheck. We have this method here with a context, with a cancellation token. And using a constructor, we can inject any services we want to check whatever we want to check against database with entity framework or whatever. And inside this method, we do our actual checks like this. So this is our check. It's true, and we are healthy. So, and adding checks like this, it's pretty simple. You can, if you want to have third-party checks, just reference the assembly or the NuGet package and add it like this. So let's run it. Okay, it's there and should be degraded. Yeah, this is because of the ping. So does this make sense to you until here?
Yeah, so far so good.
Yes, okay. So, but as you mentioned, this is not really detailed here. So maybe you want to know more about the state, of want to know what is gone bad actually, what is happening. And doing this, we have the health check services, or the health check service. This is an actual service to retrieve the results. So we can use this inside a controller, for example. So I will continue copying code. So it's this one here. We need to inject it using a dependency injection. And I need to assign it to the local variable. And now we are able to use it. So I will add a view called health. So let's have a quick look here. So we have a new action here called health. We will create the view later. And this uses the health check service to get all the results, or that does the checks. So the checks are executed in the moment when you access the endpoint or when you call this method here. Check health async executes all the checks. So this is not done in the background. So it's done when you access the endpoint or calling this method. So then we have a list of, is it right? No, it's not a list. It's a health report. Yeah, like this. And we can return this to the view. And now we create the view here in the home. Health GSHTML. And we'll also copy some code in it. We'll use this namespace. Our model is this health report. And yeah, we can loop over the model here. So this report, and we have entries in our report, and we loop over it. And for each entry, we'll create a new list item here. We'll have the status. We'll have a description, and we can join it the tags if you want to, and the duration of the actual check or the execution of the check. So this is the way how I can display all the results of all the checks. So let's run it. It's there. This is running. And we call home health. So it's late today. So that's it. Here we have an healthy foo check. This is bar degraded. This is false positive, so because we set it to healthy. This is the ping. Now it's healthy. It's not slow anymore. And this is the class-based one. And with this, we can create something like a status page, like the page
Dashboard.
has.
Something like that.
Sorry?
Like a dashboard or something you can have.
Exactly. I think Microsoft has an overview page for the Azure services, right? You can see the state of the different services in different regions. And you can create something like this if you have an application like this, like I don't know. Yeah, or GitHub has something like this, or Atlassian overview pages that show the state of the services and application. Yeah, like a dashboard.
And, can you, for instance, subscribe to changes to this state and then update the dashboard, or will you just refresh that every something?
So do the checks in the background. This could be possible by using background work or something like this to do the check on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe then it's you can save the state somewhere, maybe in the database or in the cache or whatever, and push the results to the UI with Signal R or just a refresh or like this.
Joe Byrne asked the question, if all the check functions are run when the view is requested, so when you access the home/health, is this when the health checks are run?
Yeah, if I call this URL, then the method gets executed here in the controller. And then the checks are, get executed. Yeah. Does this answer the question?
Yeah, can you just show that method again? Sorry, I was just following your example here on my end, and I think I just missed something.
It's this method, health.
Yeah, so basically, if you want to write something to check the health of one of your dependencies, like a database, you just need to write a class that gives back the health status, really. So would that be a fair assessment? Or...
I'm not sure if I get you right.
Okay, so you want to, all right, let's imagine a real life scenario. You have your application that has dependencies on a database and maybe two other services, and you want to, show the dashboard for, just like you just showed there. So the code to check for example, the database, if it's reachable, right, or if there's low latency, you will write a class for that. How would you approach of writing the code for that, for example? So if you look so this is what I wanted to go through, back to the ping example.
Yeah, you would write it here somewhere.
Yeah.
Just to try to do a connection, and maybe a little more. You could try to do fetch from a specific table. Maybe we would combine some checks here first to connect to the database. If this is working, then it's kind of healthy. If you're able to fetch data from a specific table, then this would be a healthy state.
So I was just thinking, is there any interface so you have this code, but it's if you're actually writing this in the production environment, it gets a bit verbose on the startup.cs file. So I was thinking if you can inject something here, if there's an interface that we can implement has a method like get value or get health check.
Actually, Microsoft didn't add any checks to the framework. So at the beginning, we started to write some checks and added them to the repository. We had some database checks, Azure service checks, something like this. But in the production version, Microsoft removed all the checks. So it's only an interface to write your own checks or to use third-party checks.
Okay.
And if we go back to the presentation, there is a community project. And I'll try to open it. Yeah, it's here. It's this one. I have no idea how to spell this. Zabaril, I don't know. This is a community project full of health checks. So if we go to the sources, sorry, you can see all the different kind of checks. We have a check against RenkoDB, whatever this is. Console, Azure Storage, Azure Service Bus, DocumentDB, CosmosDB, whatever. SQL Server is somewhere here.
Yeah. Okay.
SQLite
handy,
and so on. Yeah, and you just need to choose one of those and add it.
You can add your own
like this. Yeah, you can write your own, or you can add the existing checks like this, like the example health check. It's just a NuGet reference in your project using here to the specific namespace, and add the type here of the namespace, or sorry, of the health check. And that's all you need to do. Maybe some configuration. If we go to the samples here, you will see it. UI sample, example. Maybe, yeah, we have RabbitMQ, identity server, every check has different kind of configurations here. It's added like extension method. So we have the add health checks here, and they created extension methods to easily add checks for RabbitMQ. So you don't need to do it like this. So if I'm a creator of health checks and will provide my checks as a library, I would create a add example health check method.
Yeah, I think I was paying attention, and what I missed there was the interface that example health check implements. So that's kind of what I was looking for. I just found it here. I'm going to put the link on the chat. So
I mean, like this.
yeah, that was it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I apologize.
Don't worry. Yep. Yeah, the ping example could be here, placed here. Yep. Okay, I anyway wanted to show you this project because this is the project that is officially referenced by Microsoft in the docs. So if you look at the docs here, quickly open it. It's weird, it's hard to open a link from PowerPoint. So this is the health check documentation. And this is referencing to the community project here. And yeah, here as well. They're always everywhere in this documentation. There always this kind of notifications here. It's not maintained or supported by Microsoft, so they excluded all the default health checks from the framework. And
so Julio, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is asking if there's anything similar for metrics, similar to health checks. He would like to know if there's an easy integration with Prometheus. I'm not sure what Prometheus is.
I'm as well not sure. So maybe there's something here. Yeah, Prometheus metrics. There's a health check available here.
So Julio is going to save a bit of his time. Someone already did it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think if you look into these checks here for SQL Server, SQLite, I think they're pretty small, just small checks here. There are a lot more complex ones. I don't know about Prometheus metrics, but maybe this is a more complex check. I never connected to Cosmos DB. Maybe this is more complex, and yeah, this will save a lot of time. SendGrid, this is useful. And I think the next step is to have a small look into this one. Let me quickly look into the agenda. Yep, we had a look into the health check results. We created our small dashboard. And it would be cool to implement a nice UI, I guess. So this dashboard thing we just created isn't really nice. And this community project includes a really nice UI with nice colors and nice design. And this is easily added as well. So let me quickly look here. Yeah, we need some services. We'll add it here. So we have health check UI services. I think I need to add a NuGet package. 1 second. Yeah. Let's add it. .NET add package. Hope it's this way. I'm always confusing this .NET add package or .NET package add, but I'm right. Okay.
So Julio was just informing us that Prometheus is becoming the common place to monitor system and apps on Kubernetes clusters.
I didn't know.
So
Cool.
we all learned something today, more than
Yeah.
we were expecting.
Yeah, thanks for the hint. I'm currently learning Kubernetes stuff and OpenShift. So it's
Soon enough,
really
you'll
hard.
be needing this Prometheus metrics check.
Yeah, I will have a look, definitely. So this is added. We have this check here. On my side, no, it's .NET Core 3.1. I have the sample on the other screen. It adds 3 more checks, but we will see if it's working or not. Yeah, we need the memory storage as well. So let's add it. We added the UI. This is just caching the states, I think. So we have another package. Yeah, that's here. So we added the UI and an in-memory storage for the check results, and we need to add an endpoint for the UI. This is simple. It's just this call, but we need to extend the endpoint we previously created. So with this, this is something like a configuration to add a UI response writer or a response writer for the health check endpoint. And in this case, we plug in the health check UI response writer. So this is the response writer that came with the health checks UI. So I need to add some musings. The options from the framework, and we need a different package. So this is why I have 3 packages in the other application. Yep. In memory, it's UI client. So, come on, yeah. So it seems to be complete. Yeah, looks good. So we extended this endpoint with this different response writer, and this creates a JSON result. And this JSON result is consumed by the UI. So let's write. And if I'm right, we now have a different endpoint with the UI. So try to call it. Should be this. No, not really. I'll need a quick look into the documentation. Here's the UI. Mm-hmm. So we need to find the right endpoint. Endpoint name. Yeah, this one. it's possible to set a different one. So I want to leave it with the defaults. Yeah. So this is the UI, and we should have our health checks here. Usually. So let's have a look into our endpoint. So yeah, this is working. So as you can see here, we now have a lot more information here. This is the overall status and our entries, foo bar, and the ping. And the class base should also be here. Yeah, this one. So, and I always have some trouble to bind this. So maybe this is calling a different endpoint currently. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's calling this one, Health Checks API. So it's calling a different endpoint. Let's see what we can do here. Set up options, new. It's an action, right? Yes. Anyway, let's stop here. Doesn't make sense if you, see me searching for solutions. So it's possible to configure this guy to connect to this endpoint. So this is always a little bit tricky.
So you can have that dashboard that we were talking about set up easily just by using that UI.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need to develop it by our own. So usually this API should provide the information to us. And currently it did not. But it's in the documentation. So if you want to try it, look at the documentation. And yeah, it's somewhere here. Details to get it running. You can configure a lot here. You can set up the interval to pull the checks, and yeah, max active result, max active request, stuff like this. So feel free to play around with this.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's tried pulling the states here. Yeah, any questions? I think we don't have the time to spin up the Docker Compose demo. It's almost 8 in Ireland, I guess. It's almost 9 here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we got an idea on what's available and how to use this. I was reading a book some time ago that mentioned L checks, so it's awesome to be talking with one of its creators.
Yeah, I really like that it's a small framework and only providing the APIs to add health checks and the endpoint. And usually you don't need this kind of dashboard. Usually you need to add the.
Bart actually has a question. What is the benefit of the health UI? He's asking, is it more common to integrate with stuff like Azure Monitor, AWS CloudWatch, and such?
Yeah, usually, I wanted to say it, you don't need those kinds of UIs, only if you want to provide the information to the users nicely. But usually you will add these endpoints to Kubernetes, Azure, something like this.
And you might not
That-
be using Azure Monitor or anything if you have some other provider or something in-house.
Yeah, usually a provider wants to know the overall state, right? And in this case, you also just provide the endpoint to that provider. If you have sub-services or multi-service or microservice environment, then maybe the sub-service also have endpoints. This is that are reporting to some kind of provider or health check environment. So if I'm an application and want to know the state of the sub-service, I don't really need to have a dashboard. I just want to know if it's healthy, degraded, or unhealthy.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, this was pretty cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I think the presentation is brilliant, actually. So you covered everything pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be cool to also show the Docker Compose demo, but
for next talk, you just focus on that.
okay.
You're always invited to come back again and talk about whatever you want. So
preferably C#.NET and Azure,
If there's no further questions, we'll just go to the Raffle. I'll start sharing my screen.
Wheel of Fortune thing there. So.
Wheel of names, but close enough. So what I did here was, let me close this. I got the names from here. Julio, adding yourself twice doesn't count. Sorry for that. So it's only one entry. And let's give it a spin. This is for the JetBrains.
I like how you even got the JetBrains logo inside the wheel.
And Vital.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations. I'm just writing your name here so I don't forget. And
oh, I know him. I worked with him. So
okay. Oh, but full disclosure, I didn't know. This wasn't forced. I'm going to keep Vital because there's more things to raffle. I'm going to do a strategic switch now. Wow, even changes colors. So we have four books, one extra provided by Jürgen. The 3 books available are so many things. So software architecture with C#9 and .NET 5, C#9 and .NET 5, and ASP.NET Core 5 and Angular. These books were kindly offered by our sponsor Pact. And yeah, let's spin the wheel. As your name comes up, you just let me know which book do you want.
Okay. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And because the books are different, I'm going to keep you. So just send a message of the book that you want.
Well, how does that work if 2 people ask for the same book?
They can. So
okay.
It's first served base.
Okay.
Once more, the titles. Software architect. I'm going to copy this and paste here. But the titles are on the Meetup event page. And now I pasted on the chat so you can check.
So which one do we have 2 copies?
Sorry?
Which one do we have 2 copies? We have
not sure we have 2 copies, unless
Oh,
one
it's
of
just
those
3
books
books.
is
Okay.
it's yours, Jürgen. What's the title of yours?
It's customizing ASP.NET Core.
Okay, so that's
Try to find the Amazon URL.
customizing ASP.NET Core. So yeah, maybe you can pick that book too. So Thomas, just I hope I spell your name correctly. Just pick software architecture. So Thomas,
So that's gone.
gone. But it doesn't mean that it won't be available on the next meetup. So one more reason to join. And Kieran is the big winner. I think Kieran is winning stuff on all meetups. Like people might think that we have something here, but it's not.
He's a regular attendee.
It's still regular, so he's always here. So Kieran, which book do you want?
Jürgen's.
Okay, so customizing ASP.NET Core. Congratulations. Come on, Vital, you're taking all the books. There's even a woo on the sound. I don't know if you're hearing that.
You're sharing the sound.
I don't know. So which ones are left? C# 9 and .NET 5, ASP.NET Core 5, and Angular. C# 9 and .NET 5.
Okay. So the one left is ASP.NET Core 5 and Angular. Oh, Kieran, nearly there again. Huh?
Kieran. Almost took everything and joining Vital there. So congratulations, Patrick. I guess you'll have the ASP.NET Core 5 and Angular. So congratulations, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you again, Jürgen, for joining us today and talk to us about health checks.
Thanks
And
it was a pleasure.
yeah, just let us know if you have any other. Patrick is saying that he wanted the Angular book, so there you go. Just feel free to join us to attend any meeting, or if you have some other topic that you want to discuss.
Sure.
And thank you all again. Have a nice rest of the day or evening, and stay safe. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye. See you.